Exodus chapter 12. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in Egypt, "This month is to be for you the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. If any household is too small for a whole lamb, they must share one with their nearest neighbor, having taken into account the number of people there are. You are to determine the amount of lamb needed in accordance with what each person will eat. The animals you choose must be year-old males, without defect, and you may take them from the sheep or the goats. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all the members of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and tops of the door frames of the houses where they eat the lambs. That same night they are to eat the meat roasted over the fire, along with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. Do not eat the meat raw or boiled in water, but roast it over a fire, with the head, legs, and internal organs. Do not leave any of it till morning. If some is left till morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it, with your cloak tucked into your belt, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. On that same night, I will pass through Egypt, and strike down every firstborn of both people and animals, and I will bring judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I am the Lord. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you when I strike Egypt."
出埃及记12，耶和华的逾越。耶和华在埃及的对摩西和亚伦说：“你们要以本月为正月，为一年之首。你们要吩咐以色列全会众说：本月初10，个人要按着家庭取羔羊，一家一只羔羊。若一家的人太少，吃不了一只羔羊，就要按照人数和隔壁的邻舍共取一只。你们要按每人的食量来估算羔羊。你们要从绵羊或山羊中取一只无残疾1岁的公羔羊。”要把它留到本月14日，那日黄昏的时候，以色列全会众要把羔羊宰了。他们要取一些血，涂在他们吃羔羊的房屋两边的门框上和门楣上。当晚要吃羔羊的肉，要用火烤了，与无酵饼和苦菜一起吃，不可吃生的，或用水煮的。要把羔羊连头带腿和内脏用火烤了吃，一点也不可留到早晨。若有留到早晨的，要用火烧了。你们要这样吃羔羊，腰间束带，脚上穿鞋，手中拿杖，快快地吃。这是耶和华的逾越。因为那夜我要走遍埃及地，把埃及地一切头生的，无论是人是牲畜，都击杀了。我要对埃及所有的神明施行审判。我是耶和华。这血要在你们所住的房屋上做记号，我一见这血，就逾越你们。我击打埃及地的时候，灾殃必不临到你们身上施行毁灭。
This is a day you are to commemorate. For the generations to come you shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day remove the yeast from your houses, for whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day until the 7th must be cut off from Israel. On the first day hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the 7th day. Do no work at all on these days, except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Celebrate the festival of unleavened bread, because it was on this very day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. In the first month you are to eat bread made without yeast, from the evening of the 14th day until the evening of the 21st day. for 7 days. No yeast is to be found in your houses, and anyone, whether foreigner or native born, who eats anything with yeast in it, must be cut off from the community of Israel. Eat nothing made with yeast. Wherever you live, you must eat unleavened bread.
除酵节，你们要纪念这日，世世代代守这日为耶和华的节日，作为你们永远的定例。你们要吃无酵饼7日。第1日要把酵从你们各家中除去，因为从第1日到第7日，任何吃有酵之物的，必从以色列中剪除。第1日当有盛会，第7日也当有盛会。在这2日，任何工作都不可做，只能预备个人的食物，这是唯一可做的工作。你们要守除酵节，因为我在这1日把你们的军队从埃及的领出来，所以你们要世世代代守这日，立为永远的定例。从正月14日晚上直到21日晚上，你们要吃无酵饼。在你们各家中7日之内不可有酵，因为凡吃有酵之物的，无论是寄居的，是本地的，必从以色列的会中剪除。任何有酵的物，你们都不可吃，在你们一切的住处要吃无酵饼。
Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go at once and select the animals for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it into the blood in the basin, and put some of the blood on the top and on both sides of the doorframe. None of you shall go out of the door of your house until morning. When the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, he will see the blood on the top and sides of the doorframe, and will pass over that doorway. And he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants. When you enter the land that the Lord will give you as he promised, observe this ceremony. And when your children ask you, What does this ceremony mean to you? Then tell them, It is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt and spared our homes when he struck down the Egyptians. Then the people bowed down and worshipped. The Israelites did just what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on the throne, to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of all the livestock as well. Pharaoh and all his officials and all the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was loud wailing in Egypt, for there was not a house without someone dead.
逾越节的建立，于是摩西召了以色列的众长老来，对他们说：你们要为家人取羔羊，把逾越的羔羊宰了，要拿一把牛膝草，蘸盆里的血，把盆里的血涂在门楣上和两边的门框上。直到早晨，你们谁也不可出自己家里的门，因为耶和华要走遍埃及，施行击杀。他看见血在门楣上和两边的门框上，耶和华就必逾越那门，不让灭命者进你们的家，施行击杀。你们要守着命令，作为你们和你们子孙永远的定例。日后你们到了耶和华所应许赐给你们的内地，就要守这礼仪。你们的儿女对你们说，这礼仪是什么意思呢？你们就说，这是献给耶和华逾越节的祭物。当耶和华击杀埃及人的时候，他逾越了以色列人在埃及的房屋，救了我们各家。于是百姓低头敬拜，以色列人就去做，他们照耶和华吩咐摩西和亚伦的去做了。
During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, Up, leave my people, you and the Israelites. Go worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and herds, as you have said, and go. And also bless me. The Egyptians urged the people to hurry and leave the country, for otherwise, they said, we will all die. So the people took their dough before the yeast was added and carried it on their shoulders in kneading troughs wrapped in clothing. The Israelites did as Moses instructed and asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. The Lord had made the Egyptians favorably disposed towards the people, and they gave them what they asked for. So they plundered the Egyptians.
第10灾，头生的被杀。到了半夜，耶和华把埃及地所有头生的，就是从坐宝座的法老到关在牢里的人的长子，以及一切头生的牲畜，尽都杀了。法老和他众臣仆以及所有的埃及人都在夜间起来了。在埃及有大大的哀嚎，因为没有一家不死人的。夜间，法老召了摩西和亚伦来说：“起来，你们和以色列人都离开我的百姓出去，照你们所说的，去侍奉耶和华吧。照你们所说的，连羊群牛群也带走，也为我祝福吧。”埃及人催促百姓赶快离开那地，因为埃及人说：“我们都快死了。”百姓就拿着没有发酵的生面，把揉面盆包在衣服中，扛在肩上。以色列人照摩西的话去做，向埃及人索取金器、银器和衣裳。耶和华使埃及人看得起他的百姓，埃及人就给了他们所要的，他们就掠夺了埃及人。
The Israelites journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth. There were about 600,000 men on foot, besides women and children. Many other people went up with them, and also large droves of livestock, both flocks and herds. With the dough the Israelites had brought from Egypt, they baked loaves of unleavened bread. The dough was without yeast, because they had been driven out of Egypt and did not have time to prepare food for themselves. Now the length of time the Israelite people lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of 430 years, to the very day, all the Lord's divisions left Egypt. Because the Lord kept vigil that night to bring them out of Egypt, on this night, all the Israelites are to keep vigil to honor the Lord for the generations to come.
出埃及，以色列人从兰塞启程，往舒歌去。除了小孩，步行的男人约有60万，又有许多不同族群的人，以及众多的羊群牛群，和他们一同上去。他们用埃及带出来的生面烤成无酵饼，这生面是没有发酵的，因为他们被催促离开埃及，不能单言，就没有为自己预备食物。以色列人住在埃及共430年。正满430年的那一天，耶和华的全军从埃及的出来了。这是向耶和华守的夜，他领他们出埃及地。这是以色列众人世世代代要向耶和华守的夜。
The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "These are the regulations for the Passover meal. No foreigner may eat it. Any slave you have bought may eat it after you have circumcised him. But a temporary resident or a hired worker may not eat it. It must be eaten inside the house. Take none of the meat outside the house. Do not break any of the bones. The whole community of Israel must celebrate it." A foreigner residing among you who wants to celebrate the Lord's Passover must have all the males in his household circumcised. Then he may take part, like one born in the land. No uncircumcised male may eat it. The same law applies both to the native-born and to the foreigner residing among you. All the Israelites did just what the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, and on that very day the Lord brought the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions.
逾越节的条例，耶和华对摩西和亚伦说：“逾越节的条例是这样：外邦人不可吃这羔羊，但是你们用银子买来，又受过割礼的奴仆可以吃；寄居的和雇工都不可吃，应当在一个屋子里吃，不可把肉带到屋外，骨头一根也不可折断。以色列全会众都要守这礼仪。若有外人寄居在你那里，要向耶和华守逾越节，他所有的男子务要先受割礼，然后才可以当他是本地人，容许他守这礼仪。但未受割礼的都不可吃这羔羊。 本地人和寄居在你们中间的外人当守同一个条例。以色列众人就去做，他们照耶和华吩咐摩西和亚伦的去做了。正当那日，耶和华将以色列人按着他们的队伍从埃及的领了出来。